All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start using model in place components. This is really important to understand as you're developing your model. You're going to want to put in some custom pieces, and you need to know how to do that. So I'm just going to hide this floor, and I'm going to start modeling. You should be modeling in your own retail space. So what I'm going to do is you're first going to grab this architectural component model in place, and you can see it's showing you like a piece of furniture that you're modeling. That's cool. This first dialog box that you're going to see is family categories. You'll want to select the one that's closest to the type of family you're creating. So if it's a piece of furniture, go ahead and click on furniture. If it's going to be just a general model, you're not sure yet, just go ahead and click on that. I'm going to be building the base of the stairs, so I'm going to go ahead and allow it to be that. It's really important that you get the one that's closest fit because it will take on some of the inherent properties of that family category. So stairs, so to describe that, stairs want to be hosted on the floor, right? Like light fixtures might be hosted on a wall, or it might be on a ceiling, but it won't be on the floor. So it wouldn't allow you to attach there. So that's just that's one of the inherent qualities that you would be picking up by selecting the right one. So this will be the base element. All right, so you'll see you get the standard categories here. I probably should set my my level so that it's proper, and then it's just modeling. So I'm not going to go into kind of all these other types. All these things, you should be able to kind of scroll over them, and I think we've covered most of them anyway. But each one has the kind of video that's going to help you understand what it is. So obviously blend can take two pieces of geometry and that are different and blend them into a kind of its own loft. I would think of that as loft if you're using Rhino. So anyway, we're going to use Extrusion. That's the one I use mostly anyway. And I'm going to go back one tread, and then I want to go, I say, I don't know, 9 feet. I don't know. I'm kind of torn. Maybe it's 7 feet. Maybe it aligns right with that wall opening. And then I'm going to tell it the depth. And at this point, I think the landing will be at 1. It's a very specific number. 141, 256 inches will be that. So I'll just say okay, and then I might have this aligned to that, lock in there, and let's just see where we're at. So then 3D view, that's pretty basic. It looks like our tread, our bent plate is going to run into that nicely. I probably have to have some kind of thing to receive it a little bit better at that level. So I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have it come to that point. So it's just, this is really designing on the fly is fine. That's the whole point. Oh, grabbed the wrong one. So if I select this, I should be able to edit in place. So that's probably what I want to do. I'm going to have it align with that moment. I decided I am going to change this front part, so let's just go ahead and move that out a bit. and we'll just call that out at, I don't know, 10. Yeah, there we go. All right, so now we have that, but let's talk about like actually inserting voids in that. So you have the same tools. You have all the same blend and revolve and sweep, but you're starting out with the void. So before we do that, let's just make sure that we understand our stairs have, at least my stair, the rise height is this. And you'd only start modeling this once you've really kind of fixed, that stair. Otherwise, you're going to be remodeling the base a bit. So you do want to be kind of cognizant of kind of where you are in the project. But even if you're just kind of roughing it in, that's probably good enough. So this is getting very close to 7 inches. It may be closer to 6 3/4 or 6 7/8. But I'm going to try to be really respectful of this, so I'm going to go ahead and call it out as this crazy 6 inches and 233 by 256, that fraction. So yeah, that's a little nuts. But what I'll do is, now knowing that I have that, so 233, 256 is the fraction, is 6 inches. Okay. I'm going to then go back and edit in place. I'm going to put a void into these stairs. And so void form, extrusion, I can start to model something that maybe starts right here. It looks like I'll be very close to having enough room to do it. I do want to start this at 6 inches, 233 by 256. I think I may want to drop that down by an inch and a half. So that would actually be, and sorry, yours will be, kind of whatever it is. So forgive me that I'm being very specific, but I think it's important to get really pretty close. So I think that's going to actually be the beginning. To put that here. There, apply. All right, so let's just take a look where we're at. So you can see that's kind of created this void, which is kind of the idea. If I was to, kind of put some more effort and time into thinking about kind of how this relates to the other stair, I may want to increase, this shape a bit more to allow for this to align with my other tread. So if I wanted it to line there, I can do that. I may want this to align to that, so it's really kind of creating this complete void. And then, what do I do next? Well, I probably would go ahead and put in my stair, but realize that if I wanted this to then kind of wrap around and have kind of this concrete base, I can edit this, by adding, extra lines. So let's say that this goes out, enough that I can kind of have a working space back there, goes over, and maybe this whole thing, isn't, completely, maybe it shows mass, but it's really actually pretty thin, this part, because you wouldn't want this kind of huge concrete mass, but you'll see that in the design, it actually, kind of reflects, at least from a view, or that it's like at least, 2 feet thick, even though, now there's some knee space and whatnot back there. So all of that, starts to kind of reveal itself in the 3D form. So something along that nature. So you can see that it's pretty easy to kind of start to model these things and start to get some character involved in it. You know, it could be that, you know, you start to kind of look at, you know, just kind of riffing a bit on all the things that you might want to do, but you know, who's to say that you don't, you know, kind of put some kind of a planter or something right here that just kind of gives it a little bit more character. So so if that's the case, you know, perhaps I also kind of continue to edit and create another void form, you know, where, you know, right here, you know, I've just given a little detail notch. Maybe it's a detail for something to be received, you know, but I can start to, you know, define something, and this, you know, maybe it starts, you know, right at, you know, just below the 2'10", so it's like 2'9" is really where it starts. And so you can see with just, what did it do? All right, I didn't achieve that, so I'm gonna just go ahead and edit that again. So just create that void form. You know, maybe it's a little circle this time, and it's going to start extrusion at 2'9". Why didn't that work? Okay, and then we look at the 3D view, and we see that little divot. That's not a great design right there. It looks more like a cup holder than anything else. But you know, if that was to receive something, a vessel or whatnot, that'd look pretty cool. All right, so that's how you start to model. I would like to see you guys take on something, some kind of custom component in this project. Whether it's a piece of furniture or if it's a retail element, I don't care. But do start to use that tool to create your own component and document it. Hopefully you can find a way of giving it some views related to your stairs, so it's not like a huge amount of documentation beyond, you know, what we're already looking at. But you can see, kind of compared to, you know, this is just kind of the beginning of something that I was creating, where I started to create, you know, various stairs, and then started to relate, you know, this other, the treads actually coming down and creating that landing, that material wrapping around. You know, all this stuff is pretty easy to do once you start to use the align tools, so it's kind of always aligning to elements that are within. You can see I cheated on this one. I, you know, didn't erase the stairs, but I would expect you guys to be able to take care of that. So there you go. That is the kind of basics. All right.